Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here, my name's Maria and I'm a fourth year medical student studying at the University of Cambridge. So today I'm doing a vlog of my third week of placement in Ipswich Hospital. So I'll be taking a deep dive into the teaching there and specifically the venipuncture sessions that we have one-on-one with the nurses. I'm also going to just show you a bit around my first placement in a GP practice in Colchester, which was on Friday, and on top of that, just showing you a few of the socials that I've managed to get up to, including axe throwing and a really charming walk to Grantchester. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hey, so it's 8:15 and I'm just going off to Ipswich Hospital for my venipuncture session. But I'm feeling a lot more confident about it because I've had a lot of practice on my friends. This is my walk to the hospital. It's literally only 2 minutes, which is really ideal because I'm always running late. But yeah, it was such a sunny day and I was in a pretty good mood. So I really like looking back on footage I filmed before while I'm editing because it shows how optimistic I was. So my venipuncture session went quite differently to how I could have imagined. But first of all, I go in with one of the nurses. I'm meant to have 2 patients and it should take about an hour. We go to the first patient who is just missing from the ward. That's strike 1. And then the second patient that we're going to, she is quite a frail old lady. And I guess with like frail old ladies, they're like notorious for being very difficult to take blood from just because they have quite small veins and they don't have like that much blood flow. On top of that, the patient has quite bad dementia, so she's really confused. She has like toothpaste smeared all over her face, and just explaining who I am and what I need to do was so tricky. So anyway, I'm really nervous going in on the first arm. And I don't immediately get it in and I start to like panic more. With a bit more maneuvering, I get the needle in and like there's blood coming out, but then it just stops and like the nurse tries to step in. She can't get it like to flow anymore as well because like the vein has collapsed. And I was just panicking at this point internally. After I've kind of calmed down a little bit, I go onto the second arm and we do manage to get blood there. It just takes absolutely ages for it to come out. And by the time we're finished with this first patient, it's already been an hour. One of the other training nurses who help us out, she has to step in and take over with me and my second patient. And she was so supportive, honestly. I was quite nervous though because like I can see the patient coming into the ward and she is in tears. And I can also see that her family's around her and she's getting help. So it turns out that she's blind. That adds in more difficulty, especially when this is just like one of the first few patients. But anyway, I actually got on really well with the second patient. She was so lovely to chat to. I managed to get blood like on the first attempt and it all went so smoothly. And that really helped to build my confidence. It was definitely a useful learning experience having that one-to-one training. And I know they don't have that in a lot of places. So I'm really glad I had it, but yeah, it did not go exactly to plan. So later that day we had a catheterization session and this is a cheeky snippet from that. And then we went axe throwing as a group in the evening. Morning guys, so it is Thursday morning. So I've got a bit of a formative test today on doing different medical exams on patients. And everybody's kind of bigged this up as one where the people doing them are a little bit mean. So I did a bit of revision this morning of what sort of things to look out for. Anyway, after that I'm gonna have a bit of breakfast and then I'm off to the hospital. So yeah, should be an exciting day. In terms of yesterday, the axe throwing was a lot of fun. After a bit of self-studying, I had a very busy time on the wards. So today is my first GP placement, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to Colchester in this like quite rural practice. I think our session is more on like respiratory medicine today. I'll keep you guys updated about what's going on and how I'm finding it. But overall, I'm pretty excited. And yeah, I've never been to Colchester before, so that should be an experience in itself. I wanted to give a bit of background on what happened yesterday because yesterday was quite an exciting day. I definitely had a lot of fun, but it was quite an experience. So I had like my ward-based training in the morning. So I did like a clinical examination on a patient. It was pretty good. I missed out a few things, but it did really help with my confidence levels, and I feel more prepared to do more in the future. So I'd say that was a win. And then somehow I spent an hour and a half having lunch. So there was free McDonald's in Doctor's Mess in Ipswich, which was awesome. And then after that, I decided to follow one of my friends into AMU, which is the acute medical unit. And I watched cannulation, which he did successfully. And then after that, we were watching them take blood from a PICC line. But at that point, I actually ended up feeling really dizzy because it turns out I hadn't really drunk very much that day or the day before. So my blood pressure was like ridiculously low. Anyway, the AMU team was so nice. So I literally had my hand held until I could get to like their like staff room. I was sat there for like, I don't know, a good 45 minutes. They would like regularly measure my blood pressure. I got a whole bunch of water and apple juice brought to me, which was so sweet, and it made such a big difference. But anyway, after that, I got a whole bunch of clinical skills signed off. I did an ECG for the first time, and the patient was so lovely. It turns out she was a biology teacher, and she had had open heart surgery before. So she would just whip out this like open heart surgery video for her students to see, and now me, which was really cool. And she was so enthusiastic. Like, I loved how she was so into what we were doing. I also did like a complete set of observations on her. The nurse was so lovely. And then I also did some subcutaneous injections. I was meant to meet my friends, but their supervision had overran. So I kind of just ended up taking the initiative and following some nurses and nursing students. And I ended up getting to do a few. So that was pretty cool. I made a lot of friends with F1s. So I was honestly buzzing after that day, but I was so knackered. But anyway, I had an early-ish night, and now I'm ready to go to the GP. So this is us en route to the GP in Colchester. I wasn't kidding when I said it was quite rural, so this is just a few minutes away. So at the GP, we'd all take it in turns, having a consultation and then an examination on a patient while the others would watch. This is the room we were in. And then one of the patients actually brought us a chocolate cake that she'd baked, which was the cutest thing. And that honestly made our day. After that, we left and then we headed past Capel, which was so cool because the wards in Ipswich are named after villages around. So yeah, Capel was one of the wards there. In Capel though, we realised there was a massive problem with one of the tyres, so it was punctured. And by the time we got to the mechanic place, it was completely flat. The thing is, though, they were about to close and they didn't have any tyres that could work. So we had to wait for breakdown. In that time, we went for a walk, though. So we got back that evening. And then the next day, I decided to join the MCR. That's the postgraduate section of college, for one of their events that they'd organised. And it was actually such a lovely day. Their walk was to Grantchester, which is a village that's really close to Cambridge, and you walk through some meadows, and honestly, it felt like summertime. It was so pretty, and we saw so many cows and dogs on the way, and yeah, I've been wanting to go to more of these MCR postgraduate events because it's a nice way to meet new people in college. This is where we ended up, so this is the cafe called The Orchard. I've been here before, but every time I go, it's really nice. It is kind of expensive though. It was a bit dramatic because I got pooed on, well, my cardigan was pooed on by a bird in the orchard. But on the way back, I got to stroke some very nice cows. So I guess it was all well and good in the end.